record. Okay, I'm recording.
It's amazing that you have the AI already. Scribe.
Well, we don't have it. We do. Well, we're doing it manually right now through Otter, but it's going to be automated through Zoom. So go ahead, Franz. Say your name for the AI, and then tell us. Give us the brief for this event.
Sounds good. Yeah. My name is Franz Josef Allmeyer, sitting here in the north of Sweden, in a beautiful region of Sweden called Dalarna, which is the cultural center of Sweden and essentially Scandinavia. And well, the reason we're here for is one of our amazing partners in this region, which is the Royal Park Stockholm. They have an amazing state-of-the-art, well, first of all, hotel, but also right now what they're transitioning to is to create an innovation lab that is hosting 70 organizations and aims to right now be this epicenter of this cultural renaissance. In addition to that, the owner, the visionary behind this, is also incredibly well connected globally, and he has this other series of organizations, especially catered around hospitality and the future of hospitality. So we've been having some beautiful time here, and in that inspiration, he also has this amazing mountain resort. So literally the whole mountain we're in belongs to him, and this is connected right now to a tiny little village next to a lake, and we also are aiming to have this also be part of a village with a DHO, and he's already making all of his properties available to the integration with Seeds, which is fantastic. So we have our first ski resort fully integrated with Seeds. But the beautiful thing about this is we were having just a couple of days ago a deep discussion about what's going on in the planet with this encroachment of freedom, encroachment of liberties, and in addition to all of this failures that we're seeing around the world, and it was beautiful to witness that right now we're in the northern part of the planet, which is right now one of the darkest. In addition to the whole situation of the planet, is probably our darkest chapter in human history, and we decided to activate this sacred site, which is a mountain that derived from a meteor impact. So there's the lake and the mountain, using indigenous traditions, the Sami, which are the indigenous people here of the north, this nomadic tribe. This is also how we first originally met, where we had this Mother Earth delegation for Indigenous United Nations 3 full moons ago, and that was how we came about all of these ideas. And just yesterday was the Swedish festival for Santa Lucia, which is the bearer of the light. And we've decided that in a world where, right now, not even meetings are allowed, we are doing the exact opposite. We're having this open invitation for, first of all, the entire Sweden to join here. So we have accommodation for more than 300 people in this resort already that we're offering free of cost. And we're also inviting the villages next to us to also be host to this cultural renaissance. So we're also reawakening these cultural practices. So for example, bringing the light using the lake here to kind of ship it in using the element of water, bring it in, carry those lights, and start this massive bonfire on the top of the mountain to really hold that light for the rest of the world. In addition to that, we have the fountain in the Institute of Sacred Studies, which is also a network that we hold together, doing the same. So hold space for burying the light and do it across the world. So in addition to the program here in Sweden, we're also inviting other communities within these networks, but also in the Seeds alliances to essentially share the story and together hold the light and step into the new year holding the light. So really setting community intentions and setting the tone and frequency for this year to come. as this year has been a year of kind of collapse. This next coming year that we have is this rising up from the ashes and really shining the light in this darkness that is encroaching upon all of us. So that's the idea. And we, technically speaking, we have all of the infrastructure for the Royal Park, which I'll send you the link right after this. We have this amazing state-of-the-art studio, which right now is also being expanded for this. And we have this entire team available for making this happening. So right now we're setting up a stage, and up there where the fire is going to be, and also figuring out the agenda for other communities to check in across the planet. So that's the idea, to really have a global check-in, maybe starting from east to west, about how the new year is happening, and really have this collective intentions set making across the globe.
Great. So do you think I'll be able to talk to the AV producer, or like the lead producer that's handling the studio? Because there's two main things here. Three, for overall production, what the priority is the live broadcast streaming. The secondary is high quality documentary camera, like proper like film, feature film documentary capture. And then also for like certain places where it's going to be like a good visual where you have the people, we want to have VR, like high quality 360 cameras set up. We might not be able to stream that live this year, but we definitely want to capture it, because we can definitely like rebroadcast it in a virtual space, so that we can experience the event, experience the fire in a 360 place. So if you can connect me with the lead sort of producer, who is that? Do you know who that is right now?
I heard his name yet, but I haven't met him. So I already, when we finished up the movement building call, I already set for his contact number so that we can get him in contact with you.
So my prayer here is that we're on the ground in this event, since you already have the free location, and you have the participants, for the technical costs and the high levels documentarian producing cinematographer cost. Do you think we're going to get local participation with like professionals, elite professionals?
I think so. I think we have that already in shape, and we have the cameras. And I also set an invite to some of my filmmaking friends here in Sweden, in case they also would like to contribute.
Okay. So I want to sort of get all of that into the collaboratory for this event. So there's that. Then who is going to be handling? So it looks like you're still formalizing the high level event coordination and scheduling team.
Yeah, the agenda setting right now. We've been just communicating with this high net individuals and the celebrities around Sweden. We also planned it to make a quick website to invite people to kind of just have that.
So essentially, I created Seeds Live for using as a microsite for November 5th, and I turned it off. It's just on a splash page now. But now what we need is we just need a new like poster for this event, a nice illustrated poster for the event. And I'm seeing a lot of things here with like the darkness, the phoenix, the fire, all of this stuff.
Right.
We need an illustrator to give us a poster design, and that's kind of urgent because it's December. So we have like
2 weeks more or less. I can start getting that for you as well.
Yeah. So and then what we'll do is we'll have the Seeds Live that can go on. We can put the countdown on there, and then we can start to direct everyone to Seeds Live, and that's where we can then funnel them to our Join Seeds and our Seeds Library and other things, but also our event calendars and our videos. And then as we get our event schedule up, we can start to like update that, and that way everybody can just go to seedslive.com and see what's going on inside the Seeds universe. and then this will be our test. Because the beauty is the VR team I've been working closely with Ozone. They're about to launch their more polished version, because what we did during Burning Man and then November 5th together were just like early alpha tests. But now they're really dialing it in, the controls, the function. It's
amazing.
So over the next 2 weeks, we're going to see that unfolding. And I'm going to talk to him again today, because when people go to our Seeds Live on the day of the event, they can actually go into the web VR interface. So between now and then, based upon your production team on the ground there, we might be able to, with a little budget, to do a fast track where we actually virtualize the space, or at least we create something that's like fitting with the mood. So that's where like the Sami culture and then the layout of the virtual world we can create. So that way we can bring people together 24/7 into the virtual space, and that's where we are ultimately going to be paying people to be like greeters and onboarders in the virtual space, so they can talk to people live in this.
Wow. We can create a campaign for that, and we can also start mobilizing people to be that greeter of the culture. That's amazing.
That's part of the Ambassador Academy. So this is how we'll parallel track the needs of the Ambassador Academy, storytelling and onboarding, and just general organizational relationship management. We'll use this as one of the training tools. And
amazing.
Because I'm also working with Buckminster Fuller Institute with Design Science Studio with Nico and Hannah and then Julian from Green Planet Blue Planet, and as far as our collaboratory for D-Studio and all that, I'm going to ground it with Buckminster Fuller a lot and leverage their capacities, because they also have a virtual world that's all like hand drawn inside. That's like, I think, really epic. But
wow,
trying to figure out how to bring the teams together to create the new internet. So I think through Buckminster Fuller Institute and through our collaboratories and Haifa support, we can like start to bridge the networks of networks.
Amazing. And this is a great opportunity, man. The guy we're sitting here is an incredibly, not just aligned, but he's also incredibly wealthy. So well, I think we kind of like give him a little bit of a taster of what we can do. I think he's gonna want to do some more.
Yeah. Well, just so you know, every year there's going to be big Earth Day events. There's going to be November 5th week, and there's going to be end of year stuff every year. And November 5th is like our showcase for the next year.
November 5th is a milestone, and in between that, we also have the equinoxes and the solstice that we can do like live events across the globe with indigenous communities to kind of have that global celebration.
And then so that's the idea with these virtual spaces that we create, because we can actually go to the indigenous tribes and we can give. So part of my golden seed giveaway plan was like, if we go to cultures or we go to communities and say, hey, here's a golden seed packet. It comes with seeds, it comes with services, it comes with your own VR world, it comes with da 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 da. And in that way, we're like delivering whole systems, or like bootstrap, but like we're not like, we're making it easy for people. So that like our ambassadors are not salespeople. They're support people, and they're helping organizations to thrive. And the way they do that is by delivering services. And so the services that Haifa is building, this DAP stack, is meant so that we can just go into a community one time, do it once, do it right. You don't have to do it again. And we just go in and just like boom and turn it on.
Your own digital sovereignty.
Yeah. And then,
I absolutely love it.
And so then we can start to just like every year we can like start to like turn on more and more of these sort of autonomous communities, and that sort of with all of that stuff.
That's something that's very exciting. I think we can also maybe even if you already have something around this written down, I would love to bring it to this guy forward. Maybe we can already have like some fundraising around buying those tools, at least different layers of it. So as we build a golden package.
So that's why I'm creating the studio architecture, the office architecture, so that we can do like sub investments with sub sort of project tokens for like industry specific things. So that way we can start to because Hive is not going to be able to handle everybody, but we need Seeds DHO, and then on top of that we need all the industries, and each one of those industries is its own DAO construct, with
This
its
is
own
the index fund for multiple things, that we can have different verticals and different bioregions. And that's also what we're doing right now here with this guy, is essentially creating the financial infrastructure for all of these investment companies, national sovereign banks, to able to be invest in that transition.
So on this 24/7 event, so we're looking at end of year, starting when, where? So starting in Asia?
Yeah, I think we're still pretty open around it, but it would make sense to have this sort of like global check-in starting from east to west, and kind of all lining up to the new year launch. But
because we have everybody in Bali, and so there's like the cluster there. They could start it off. Like that's what was the plan on November 5th, was to start in Bali. So we can try that again, more organized with budget. Bali, and then Sweden, and then LA.
Yeah, maybe we can. Yeah, that would be the minimum viable. You have these three things, and also what we're doing is this. So through our network partner, the Institute of Sacred Studies, and the Fountain, they have already this amazing indigenous elders from across the globe. And that's where I first came to Sweden. We had like a small event where they were tuning in different elders from around the globe to kind of give us their ceremonial blessings of the fire. And it was just beautiful. So they're connecting from people from Africa, from the Kojis in Colombia, from the Sioux Nation, from Black Hills, to some Maya, to some Toltecs in Nicaragua, to you name it, in all of these things. So we can also see how we can create a program around these people, and see what infrastructure these communities might have, and we can just try to see what we can provide or what we can do as a minimum viable.
Great. Yeah, that's really, I'm excited about, that's what D-Studio was designed to do, which is to help those communities to capture their story. So we're almost there. Once we sort of solve like baseline technical OS stuff for these cultures and communities, and then provide them the tools, then they can tell their own story, and we don't have to do the heavy lifting. Yeah, for this event, I think that with your Institute of Sacred Studies and the Fountain and some more, we can, if we have like a strong event producer handling the core scheduling, and then we can have our sub teams working under that sort of like core event team, then we can tell a lot of story.
Yeah, I think already from that as an asset, we already have Rain. She's fantastic. She did this Luminate and Original Wisdom, who was right now in movement building. She already volunteered to also contribute to that, and I know she's fantastic at managing these events like this.
So for our global event, our top people with experience looks like Rain, Swami, but he's not technical side, I've learned. He's more of like the networking. He's networking, biz dev, yeah. But Rain for like, he's definitely not operational. Rain, and then I'm going to ask, I'm going to try to, if we can set up a budget to pay for our executive producers and our AV tech requirements, and then some budget going to our platform collaborators, Hubcast and Ozone, and then a little bit of money to pay for like website design stuff, then we can like do this proper, like with high production value, so that then the content we're capturing is like, not only is the event great, but we're actually capturing high quality content, so then we can like recycle that. So to get the budget for this, we need to pull some resources here from Haifa, from Seeds, and then maybe your partner in Sweden for.
Yeah, if you can give me a minimum viable sort of like budget breakdown, that would be fantastic. That's something that I can show. And yeah, also another thing that we can try to leverage as much as possible is obviously Seeds. Of course, maybe some of the tech and stuff might not be in that budget, but at least people, we can always provide at least a value exchange.
Most of everybody that I'm working with is still like fine with accepting Seeds, and, but we just need some HUSD to cover like hard cost as well. So okay, so I'll be able to fly once you point me towards like the lead AV producer on the ground, and then I'll work with Ray to kind of develop that core circle, and then we'll process that in the coming short period of like 24, 36 hours, 48 hours. As far as getting a pitch into the DHO tomorrow for budgeting, I would really like to, I'm going to talk to Sanjay today, but we need to sort of get like confirmation on like our enterprise accounts like Zoom and stuff. And then a budget for this event. So I'll work today on kind of a breakdown on like what I know. And then we'll get that. But tomorrow is what do we got? We got the 15th. Yep. Tomorrow is like the last day of like real focus for the DHO, right? Until the new year.
Probably, yeah. I think it's gonna probably slow down. So if we can at least for tomorrow get in the Zoom consolidation going, that would be already a huge win. For the rest of the thing, I think maybe we can just try to get it funded through what we have here.
Yeah. So okay. So I'll work on a line production sheet then, and I'll circle with Rain and then build our plan for tech plan and website microsite startup.
For the microsite, you said you had the seeds.live?
Seedslive.com. I got. We can get Seeds Live later, but I have seedslive.com, and I have our and so I can like set that up pretty quick, you know, in like a day or two, for like our for our microsite to start to drive people towards that, and then they can also find the library and all of the other things. So we can start developing that, because then my plan is that, you know, once we have the Seeds DHO like mine started on paper, we can start the D Studio construct and the D Office construct, and then the D Studio will be responsible for creating the Seeds Live network in 2021. But all of this is sort of parallel tracking for go live, but we'll be doing like these rounds of like
iteration.
tests.
Yeah. Learning, iterating, expanding.
So,
that's fine.
Because we have our Seeds universe like already ready to go. Essentially, we just need to like start to put some cap into it.
Amazing. Yeah.
Okay, so that's for the event. And then while we have you, do you want to give a quick download on? I was telling Kim earlier, like when we talked to you, that there's several agendas. There's like the budgeting for Zoom, there's the event planning, but there's also like the unpacking of like the year in review, and like what's
what I had talked about with Lisa originally had to do with bioregions, and I was asking for a model on how do you put together a bioregion, and that's kind of what prompted this discussion.
Right.
But it was also about, there's so many other things that Franz has in his brain that we just need to
I think we need to process what's stuck in his head. So earlier on the last call, I'll need to get that recording. You started to unpack a little bit of stuff again. So why, do you have anything that you want to start with discussing, or should I ask you questions?
I think just ask me questions where.
Okay, so let's do this. So let's start with what are the highlights for 2020 that you feel that we need to pull out and sort of showcase? What are some of the top highlights, and we can bullet point those off of this call.
Yeah, there's multiple layers to that. Essentially, it has an individual level, as a movement building level, as an ambassador circle level, which is where it all started. And then on essentially on a planetary level, there's multiple nuances to that. It's been a year of incredible growth, going from a handful of people with a little mock-up app called the Disease Global Passport to launching it at the Web Summit in Portugal, where we were kind of already pitching to people and getting people excited, all the way to where we are now, which is essentially a startup civilization, where we are essentially right now positioned to be the hope, the light for the planet, weaving all of these efforts together. There's there's always different perspectives. So it's, seeing this as a startup, seeing this as an organization, seeing this as an entity. I see it much more on a whole systems scale, as essentially on a meta level, a web of trust, sticking all sorts of regenerative efforts going towards the same direction of light together, and that's exactly what's unfolding. For me, it's been a huge learning in terms of kind of surrendering to that, not getting stuck in the little nitty-gritty daily life sort of things, but keeping the vessel for what wants to emerge, and losing almost my identity in it, but at the same time holding it. And yeah, we can proudly say that we're a thriving network of more than at least 450 organizations. But that is just like the tip of the iceberg. If you consider, at least from what I've been holding, is we're already mingling shoulder to shoulder with anything from nation states to royal families to you name it, indigenous communities, elders, spiritual leaders across the planet, musicians, artists. We're really bringing it all together, which is a dream come true. And we're living that dream on a daily basis and surrendering to it. What else? In terms of bioregion approaches as well, kind of planting this package of economies across the globe, which is also very hard to kind of give value to. But in terms of the meta level, everything is unfolding in sort of what we're kind of facilitating is this spontaneous self-organization across the world, and kind of cultivating that as best as we can, but also realizing that we cannot manage that complexity. It just kind of has to go on by itself. And we're just there to kind of be the gardeners of it the best we can. So that's a little bit of that in a nutshell, in the grand scheme of things. And to put in context, it's this massive darkness that we have across the world, where all of these political structures are collapsing, where all of this, we're essentially trying to be vaccinated away from everything we can. And we're definitely having a resistance towards all of this madness that is going on through the world, and we're really weaving it all together to unfold towards a brand new direction, which is also why, for me, this battle right here in Scandinavia is key, because this is also one of the cultures in the world that has been very conscious individuals, conscious citizens, but also realizing that illusions of what governments once was. Here is like one of the most socially active countries in the world, but still there is a lot of push towards a completely new reframing of things. And I think if we get it right already from a place like here, then also it unfolds. And I've been kind of focusing on this chakra points or yeah, kind of like cultural centers of the planet that are key for this unfoldment to happen. Scandinavia is one of them. Central America for me is one of them. But the places you were holding with Tulsa is also one of those acupuncture points in terms of its history.
Well,
Liechtenstein.
I saw Chiang Mai and Tulsa as like furthest from the poles in the center, spinning quite fast because they're way out. And I was like, if we can connect the east to the west, Chiang Mai to the center of America, then we can like start to heal America.
Yeah.
And so definitely like Costa Rica, Sweden, and then all of these energy centers, if we can just like connect those sacred sites and portals, and like having the shaman and the people locally, like it's really, I found it's like, if you could just like, I don't know, I feel like I can just go back to the woods and pray for things to unfold. They're going to unfold no matter what I do as an individual. That's where the gardening comes in. It's just like knowing like when to prune things, when to like separate things, when to put them together. You know, it's literally like gardening, but on an industrial whole system scale, which is like a little overwhelming for some people.
Fascinating, eh?
Mere mortals.
Yeah.
It's like seeds. The economic platform is actually just a small detail.
This is just a little tool, you know. This is the excuse to get us all working and collaborating on a global scale, you know. Otherwise, we wouldn't have be having this amazing conversation from Sweden to Tulsa right now, right here.
Yeah. And yeah. Okay. So Kim, why don't you come ask if you have any questions you want to ask?
Yeah, hi Franz. So how would you characterize what Haifa is bringing to the world?
Haifa is essentially the entity that creates all of these tools, but at the same time, beyond this entity that we need as an organization, I see it also already more on the meta level. We are the mycelial network that help people collaborate across scale and come together to build these tools that are necessary for the well-being of the whole system.
Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
So you've been working a lot with education as well, and talking about this darkness over the world and what will be left after the pandemic. Why is education so important, and how is Haifa playing a role in seeds?
Yeah, education is a very chewed up word these days. So I think more than education is building of consciousness, and I think in order to build a consciousness, first it's quite the opposite of education, is the unlearning of all of this conditioning from millennia that have been there for way too long. And at the very root of that is our currency, our financial systems, which are programmed with debt, programmed with fear, programmed with scarcity, and all of that is absolutely a myth, an illusion. And now we've found the recipe to kind of transmute that and flip it, which is exciting. But yeah, in context, in terms of my person, my relation is, I've serendipitously a lot of knowledge of what's ongoing. I think my career before all of this was working with the World Health Organization, I'm a biomedical engineer. I understand exactly what an infectious disease is, how it operates, but I also understand exactly what a PCR test is and how statistics can be used, how all of this narrative of fear can be used to manipulate essentially the whole planet right now. So for me, I'm staring at that darkness really straight eye to eye and understand exactly how it's working. So I'm also at that level kind of weaving around at the top levels to undo it and to really transmute it in a way that's not fighting that darkness that is encroaching, but making it redundant, which is a very beautiful way of fighting.
It seems to me that this is a great time for doing that, to raise consciousness, and there are already so many people across the world, as we're seeing, had the fortunate to be able to see this through seeds of all these people coming together. But I'm kind of struck by what you're doing though with the universities and scholarships, and what Stephen is doing with Regen U, and how do we reach more people? And those are tools to use to reach a higher number of people, to raise the collective consciousness. So I wanted you to just talk about that for a minute.
From the angle of education, okay, yeah. So
well, from learning and having the tools to learn about what a regenerative movement is, what is, what goes into that, whether it's soil or social or justice.
Yeah, it's for me, my inspiration or my word around all of this is integrity, and that is the integral worldview for me is that understanding of what life is as a whole, not just from a myopic point of view of how we're used to, where we kind of learn and specialize in one thing to have like really narrow consciousness, but really introducing new ways of learning around the whole about being an integral human being, which is essentially understanding the interconnectedness of how everything hangs together, starting from soil to food to be authentic, sovereign human beings. And that is of a more whole systems approach to things. And beautifully with this better than free learning concept that we're able to spin around and really empower people, or even pay for people to do that unlearning and relearning this new world of doing things, we are coming across the right partners. So all of these solutions are already out there. What we're doing is holding space for these key players to integrate and not have a university approach where there is one voice narrating what everybody should be, but more of a pluralistic or a pluriversity point of view, where there's multiple entities sharing this collective song, this diverse or unity and diversity worldview of celebrating the differences, but understanding that we are connected by having the same needs as human beings, that we share this planet together.
On Friday, I think that you're going to be speaking to the Academy, and Danny had said that maybe we would want to record you, but if there's something that you could share here so that we've got it here. I don't know what your topic is exactly. I don't know if it was on economics. Do you know?
Yeah, from what I heard from Lisa, it's around bioregions, setting up bioregions, and that's where a lot of my work here has been so far, and really understanding how to kickstart a bioregion around this whole systems approach, around this integral worldview where we kind of weave in multiple players around a community and facilitate an exchange with this community members around multiple verticals. That once done correctly, you essentially have a full-fledged economy that is operating and giving value to all the participants. Around that, as we were mentioning briefly right now with Basil, we've been doing that already from Guatemala to Costa Rica for quite some time, Liechtenstein, different places in Europe, Africa, now Scandinavia. And that's also what I used to do before, working with in global development, international development. So that has been my specialty for many years, but now it's taken it to another level with regenerative development. It's also a sort of development that takes into account the whole external system, but starts from an inside out, starting with, how does the individual fit into this collective, and how we're all a intrinsic element of the whole, not leaving anyone behind. which is a completely different than the old world understanding of what development is, which is a very myopic understanding of it.
So if you're going into a village, what is the first thing that you would do?
I would start by understanding the culture, maybe the indigenous culture of where we are coming from and kind of what's been taken away by this monoculture of consumption. And really catering to that already has a starting place, because we all have that cultural DNA within that is easily activated and that we can relate to our parents, our grandparents, and our generations. And from having that starting premise, you can really figure out easy ways where we can fill those gaps. And at the same time, understanding what the current needs are in a community, what these pressure points might be, then find creative ways to fill them. And then every community in the planet is unique in that sense. So there is essentially no one solution for all, but we can certainly start finding the templates and this blueprints to kind of adapt and iterate and scale. So I kind of, that's how my brain works. I kind of all of this sort of templates where I can already kind of match, fit, and see, and continue the iteration process and scale it forward across what is starting from a village to a bioregion to a nation state, and then onwards to bigger scales. And with seeds, which is a global currency, do it already in a planetary scale. Why not?
I think being in the United States, the most capitalistic country, what we were founded on, we've got such a challenge here. And here in Tulsa, we're in a Bible Belt too, so it's very, very Christian oriented, just very fundamentalist oriented, and it just feels like the concepts that we talk about here are big. They're big for Tulsa, even though Tulsa's a mid-sized city, and we have 1 million people in the metro. It's still a very small town and, attitude. And I'm trying to just figure out how you go into a community and not make them feel like you're taking over or something like that, because that's happened. But to, really make them understand or help them understand what does need to be learned and unlearned, to move forward and create that atmosphere for learning, I guess, together and uniting. What do you have, like, so what kinds of, do you have any pointers for that? I guess is what I'm asking, for someone in this kind of a position, and I'm sure there are others.
Yeah, that's a very classical one. Also, where I was born and raised, we also have very similar conditions like that, where cultures have been put against each other, murdered, genocide. Essentially what it comes down is trust that has been broken from all of this culture of violence, and that trust takes a lot of effort to build up. But trust is a beautiful thing in the sense that you can really, with the tools that we have, is build trust from a grassroots level up, where we are actually empowering people to empower themselves. And as they understand these tools, they also understand how the tools that currently puts them in that state where they are have been working against them. And then, by empowering them with new business models, with new ways of thinking that give them a intrinsic value within their community, that's a very easy way to kind of win people over and start building the trust. Having that said, there's also a whole bunch of other elements to it where I think in the US it's even more difficult, where, for example, you guys have fluoridated water, where the food that you guys are found in the mainstream is a shell of food. You have an environment where essentially everything that we're consuming is almost putting us in a state of weakness, where human beings are now shells of human beings. So it really also diet and water and basic sanitation is a key element to also start bringing that consciousness level of what a human potential can really unfold. So yeah, there's a lot of levels of complexity there, but there's definitely a few starting points that I could recommend.
Okay, so yeah, what I'm thinking about here is Paulo Freire and pedagogy of the oppression, of the oppressed, and how do you tell a community that they're oppressed when they don't really understand they're oppressed? They may think that they're not well, they may think they're sick, but they don't really see it as oppression.
Yeah, also, for example, showing them true value, showing them how their dollars right now, their jobs right now are devoid of purpose, they're devoid of meaning, they're devoid of true value. They're really devoid of actually giving a voice into the systems that they inhabit. And what we have is exactly the opposite, where value is co-created within network, where people have a direct voice towards the systems that they inhabit, and that they're essentially called to be the architects of their own future. So that's a way of doing it. It's also a very daunting way, because many people are used to kind of be passive bystanders of life that happens around them. But yeah, to create business models or opportunities that really put the human at the center of what value is a good way to include them in all of this. And once people are included, then they're way more prone to stop and reflect around the whole system that happens around them, which is that element of building consciousness. Another ways to do it is what I would also recommend is, activities, cultural activities, events, festivals, things that are having fun, that are building around community, which is something that any community anywhere in the world loves to do, even if they are oppressed or not. That need to find belonging or fit within a community is also a great key. And that's also something that we're able to do in quite creative and innovative ways with the tools we have now. For example, launching events, launching activities, community building programs. Those could be good strategies for what you guys have in Tulsa.
And I guess that's kind of where my question had come from in the first place, was just to kind of see what the other, and I know that we have other meetings that we can do this on, and I haven't been on those, but what are the other bioregions doing to bring people together, and what are they using to get that message out, who or what. So so that's kind of where I was coming from. I think when I asked that question was, is there a template? Well, you just told me that we're building the templates.
We're building the templates, yeah. And at this stage, just to complement what you're saying, is essentially a lot of peer-to-peer trust building, which takes a lot of time. But at this initial state is the most effective. For me, that's how I've been navigating the most. Activating that networks, activating the people who you already have trust with, to go in there already having that trust built. And at this stage, it's a bit tedious and slow, but as we start doing it in scale, then all of this network start aggregating. And then once this network start interconnecting, then it becomes much easier, because it's multiple people already having stepped in, which is much easier for the human mind, which is at this stage trained to conform and not be free thinkers. Allows us to attract more people. As we thrive, then people who are not in that state of flow and not thriving yet, we become a beacon of light that attracts those people that might still be confused in what's going on.
Like that, yeah, attraction. So where do you feel like you had your biggest successes, your most success?
So many. From I love what the work that's happening in Guatemala, which is the country that destiny saw me be born in, where it's also quite a fragmented world of violence and genocide, where we have 23 different indigenous communities with different language groups, with beautiful traditions coming together now around this old culture, something that's very fantastic and it's unfolding. I love what's happening in Costa Rica as well, where I've been able to leverage my existing network there and already have this whole system design that is taking a life of its own. I absolutely love what we've been doing in Liechtenstein, which is also a very fascinating place for all of this to unfold, and completely very polar opposite to what one might think in terms of the immediate need of seeds, which essentially Liechtenstein is right now the country with the highest per capita of the planet, and it's also a microstate. So the incentives there, or the carrots for people there, is a completely new shift, and that's also a completely new way of how we're pitching seeds, but it's also being very effective. And as we are able to do it in a tiny place like Liechtenstein, we're already connecting that, you know, powerhouse of countries there, which is Austria, Switzerland, which are also the highest degrees of democracies in terms of the globe. So we're also able to kind of improve even the most wealthiest, the most highest democracies in the world. We're also able to even further those things there and add more value. I also absolutely in love with what's happening here in Scandinavia, which is also this culture of very conscious individuals have high degrees of social and trust to the government, but as well, there's also always room for opportunity for improvement there. And in general, just again, holding that space for inspiration where we've been attracting organizations across the globe in a whole bunch of different bioregions. So hard to say what my unique favorite one is, but I love it all.
Basil? I'm asking Basil if he has any other questions. Are you tired?
I'm very tired, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to keep you too much.
Okay, so I'm going to work with line production for budgeting this event in US dollar values and then seeds value, and then try to see what we can do in seeds. We don't have time necessarily. We can put in the seeds co-op, but is it just started again?
Yeah, it was just today, a couple hours ago, the moon was closed.
So fast. So anyway, I'll put together a line production sheet, and then we'll see what we can do, because it might be a case of we need a capital partner who can accept seeds and issue US dollar, and then we'll just have to we'll be able to get the seeds to submit. But let me work on the line production and the workflow, and then start to plan out the seeds live content strategy and the countdown clock.
Fantastic. Yeah, around the seeds for the co-op, don't worry too much about that. We do have some liquid seeds available through the global embassy that we can front. And I personally also have some seeds from the Central America campaign, 20 million liquid seeds, less than 20 million.
You still have 20 million to allocate out?
Technically, they're allocated for Central America, but we can also front them for now.
That's great. So I'll put together a budget. We don't need that many. So they're worth a lot now. Yeah, that's 20 million. That's like $500,000 more.
Around, I think when I requested it, they were worth around 200. I think now it's a little bit near double than that.
Okay, so let's definitely let's show the power of seeds with this event with the production partners and strategic partners, so that we can start to issue like real value in seeds, and then that'll prove the case.
Yeah, give me what you have. Also the partners that we have here right now, we think full abundance. We essentially have a lot of resources at our disposal.
Okay, great. All right, so I'll work on that, and then we'll get there. Okay.
Is Lisa still there with you?
Yeah, she's here cooking around next, preparing some food. We haven't eaten all day.
Are there other things that we didn't cover that you're thinking about? I'm sure there's many, and I don't want to keep you tonight. We can schedule another time. Is that what you were thinking, or? And then we'll capture the Friday call as well.
Yeah, I think maybe after the Friday call in the new year, either on like one-to-ones with Franz, or then also with people that we invite from the bioregions. We can go a bit deeper into, for example, what is happening in Costa Rica, what is happening in Guatemala, and
That would be
so
great.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think, and as well also in Liechtenstein, because it's super interesting what Franz mentioned, just because the needs are so different. So the approach is completely different. But yeah, there's so many different ways of bringing in seeds and starting to work with it. So I think that would be then interesting as a next step.
Yeah, it would be. Okay, that sounds good. Then we'll work on that after the first of the year.
Yeah, and also from your side, you know, if there are questions and so on.
Right. No, we'll think some more about that on, and I think Sarah and Nyla may have been interested in this too. So
Yeah, yeah.
think
Oh,
of
that's
some more
good.
questions.
That's good.
Can you
Yeah.
send me the link to the ambassador or to our call from earlier, the movement call, Lisa?
So say again?
The recording for the movement building.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, and then I'm going to talk to our Zoom guy today, and then hopefully by the end of this week, we have a new, shiny new system.
Beautiful.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah, we'll be supporting you tomorrow at the GHO, either Lisa or I. Probably
Yeah.
most likely. Lisa.
I'm not there actually. I have another call. So
What I'm going to do, Franz, is I'm going to work on the proposal for the Zoom. I'm going to run that through Sanjay so that he can sort of ground the D office subcircle of the movement in Haifa. And then we'll start that up just to get our hard costs sort of in. And then I'll be focusing on this event. And I think that we'll be able to use this event to kind of support everybody through the new year. So I think this is a good strategy to kind of focus everybody around one mission.
Amazing. Appreciate your work, Basil, and already having done that visionary from November 5th and now this iteration, and then see how it's gonna.
Yeah, my experiment worked. I wasn't sure. I mean, I trusted the process, but some people, they didn't get it. It's okay.
that's okay. That's okay. We're all gonna get it at some point.
Well, I think that Nyla may be doing the identity and expression in tomorrow's meeting. I'm not positive, and I'm decided to not do my badge that I talked about today because Joachim said it should be more for seeds and not Haifa.
Okay.
Does that make sense to you?
It does and it doesn't. One of the things is that, you know, all we have right now is Haifa. So we've been bootstrapping everything on seeds since this full year already. So if we delay it, we delay it. And it's still quite not clear yet when we will.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it takes a lot of process. All of this tech things, we've been waiting for it for a long time. So we definitely need.
What happens?
Yeah, we definitely need the work to be done, and we can also find ways to bootstrap it.
Okay. All right. Maybe I'll just put it in and see how the discussion goes then.
Yeah, at least it's definitely worthwhile to have that discussion and then.
Yeah, I think that's important too.
To hold in plant that seed and see how it evolves, and then we can.
Yeah, and there might be like good recommendations or additions that we haven't thought about yet. Okay. So that, I think it's a worthwhile.
Okay. Okay. All right. Good. Thank you. Yeah, I don't have anything else at the moment. I know you're tired, so we can resume this at another time.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that, and we'll talk on Thursday. That's going to be great too.
Yes. Yes, we will. Okay. Thank you.
Super.
Thank you, guys.
Good night. Have a wonderful day.
Have a good day yourselves.
Bye-bye.
Till soon. Bye-bye.